Hello everyone. In the previous session we had seen properties, and properties we defined it as a flexible mechanism to read and write or compute the value of private field members in C#. Well, in contrast to that we have something called as indexers, and indexers on the other hand, they are the smart arrays, okay, or they are, more precisely if I say, they are virtual arrays. The smart arrays or virtual arrays, it allows you to use an index on an object to obtain its value. Well, the work is similar over here. The pretty much difference between properties and indexers is property cannot take arguments, but indexers can take arguments. And that's why the concept of properties exist in the indexer concept. So what is the syntax if we go through? Syntax is, we first take modifier, generally we take public, then we have a return type, then we have this keyword, and then basically we have a modifier and we take index, or if I say argument list, whatever you want to put over here, argument list. Generally here we generally take a kind of index, okay, generally we take that. Inside this we use our get and set operations, we perform that. Okay, so this is the general structure of indexers. You can see we are incorporating our properties inside the indexers. Well, basically why do we use indexer is to obtain to get the values, or to get the values of a private field members, because ultimately we cannot access them from the class to the other class. So what we do, we give them something called as array, right? Smart arrays or virtual arrays, and with the help of those arrays we can call them into the main method. What I mean to say that, well, let's understand first the difference between properties and indexers. So I have, this one. You see there is a difference, a tabular structure between a properties and indexers. And let me, this is very let me see if I can find a good, I hope this works. This is also not working. There's a difference you can find actually. Yeah, so I hope it works. So you can find the properties and indexer difference. See here you can see see property, it can be identified by its name. So if you give the property name, it can be identified, right? But indexers, it definitely identify with its signatures. So this is the difference, and you can easily find it over internet, and I'm not gonna cover it up over here, but let me go through the Visual Studio and let's simulate this complete indexers. You can see this difference, properties and indexers, with the help of this link from with this link, or you can directly search this on Google. This is pretty simple. Okay, so let's get into the indexers demo. So I have my project indexer demo, and I will create one class over here. Let me create a class, public class sample. That's my class. And inside this class, let me just increase the font so that, so this is my class, and inside this class I'll take private array. Let me take one array, private float, and I'll take percentage. Let me say percentage, and it's new float. Okay, and I'll give the size of, let me take 5 arrays, so that it gives me a pretty simple structure. And then then I'll take the values. Values is going to be like, let me take 68.5 F, then I'll take 72.4 F, let me take another 78.56 F, let me take another one, it's going to be 89.12 F, and how many F there are? 1 2 3 4, so that's the last entry, 56.47 F. Okay, so these are my values, my percentage values. On a 68.5, 72.4, 78.56, 89.12, and 56.47. So basically, I want to access these values in my main method. How can I do this? One simple way, that my class is public, I can access this, right? So let me call sample s equals to new sample. Okay, and then I'll see s dot, I'll do something like this, but I cannot access this percentage. Even if I want to do something like, try to do this in for loop, let me take in for loop, let me take it in for loop. For int I equals to, let me take it as, let's say it is 10, let's say it is 5, and then I want to print those value over here. So what I'm gonna do, I'll take, how can I do this? Let me take console dot write line, and then s of I. If I do this, do you think this will print? Let me try this. If I do over here, and if I build my solution, you see, cannot apply indexing with this operator to an expression of type indexed demo sample. I basically cannot do this, right? Even if I try to do this, I cannot do this basically. So what I need as these are private, a private area, I cannot call it over here. What I need something called as indexer. How can I call the indexer? Basically the same syntax that we had seen here, this, and to call my indexer with the help of this one. So let me call that indexer here. So the first, what I need to call access modifier, first of all access modifier. So I'll say public. Then what I need, a kind of return type. My array is of float type, so I'll call float, and then I'll say this, and then argument I'll say int index. Okay, and then I'll use my get and set properties. So get, here what I need return, what I need to return percentage. Okay, and inside that I'll pass the index. Okay, so this is my get property. Set property, what set actually do? It assigns, right? So I'll assign percentage index where? To my value. Okay, this is the structure, get and set properties. Now your indexer is completely done. Now let me call all these values. Now I can actually call this percentage and index. Index is going to be 0 1 2 3, something like that. So now in my main method, I'll try to manipulate this, and I try to call those values, I mean to say these values. So I'll take for loop, I say I is smaller than 5, and then I'll say console dot write line, and I'll say my percentage in let me say it's going to be 0, its standard is, I'll say 1, and then with the help of this comma operator I'll say this is I. So it will print comma operator, I'll print I is printing, I will print 0, 1 2 3, something like that, and then I'll call s, and then I'll directly call the ith index, right? So this I want. So now if I run this, it'll give me all these values, 0 2 5, oh sorry 4. Okay, see, my percentage in 0th standard, there is no standard such as, but let's take that 68.5, and then my percentage in first standard, that is 1th standard, that's completely wrong. let's say 72.4. I can access those values, right? The intention behind indexer is I want to call this, I want to fetch these values that is there in the private array. I want to call these values. How can I call? With the help of indexes. And I had shown you that we can call with the help of indexer method. You are calling in the main method, and with the help of indexer we had called this. Okay, now this is the basic example of indexer. Let me take one more example to understand indexes in another way. So instead of writing all these code, let me take another thing. Let me just delete this first, and then also I'm clearing out from my main method. So in this public class sample, instead of calling public class sample, I'm calling this as public class. Let me call it as book. We are doing a project on book, so let me take that. Now in this book I am declaring some members. Let me take it as private members. Private string, what I'm gonna do, I'll say give me the title of the book. Then I'll say private. I want author also, so I'll call author. Then I'll say private string, give me the subject too. So these are the three members that I want to call. I can add more things, but let me take three strings, but all these three strings are private, and I cannot call these, right? These are private. Private scope access modifier, the scope of private access modifier is in the same class. I cannot call in my the second class. You cannot call it, right? That's bound, that scope of private. So I need to call this. So let me take something called as one constructor inside this this class. So I am taking one constructor here in this class book. So public, and then I'll say book. Inside that I'll call string, then title string, I'll say author, and then string. Let me take subject. Okay, and then these are the things, and then in the constructor I'll say this. Or let me just capitalize all these private members, so that get distinguished between constructor and this. So this dot author equals to sorry, this dot title. First I need to call the title. So title equals to title. Okay, oh yeah, in this one, right? Okay, no, this is going to be this, and this is going to be small t. I hope this is completely okay. Now next is I need this dot I need author, so I'll call author equals to author, and then this dot, what exactly I have, this is title, and this is going to be my subject. I'll assign it to my small subject. Okay, so this, my constructor is ready over here. Now so I need to call this, right? Private string title, author, and subject in here in main method. How can I do this? I had construct one constructor over here. Now next thing is I want those indexers, right? With the help of virtual arrays or the smart arrays, I can call this title, author, and subject, right? The intention is that, otherwise I cannot call, right? See, let's say if I make the instance of that class. So what is the class name? I have a book, right? Class name is book. So let me call this book. B equals to new book. Let's try this. B, can you call any method? You cannot call. Even if you want to call, like I mean, how can you call? There is no way you can call these private members. There is no way. Even if you try, like going through your static ultimately you cannot call. Your class is not even, I mean, there is no static method even. So how can you call this? There is no way you can call in this static void main method. So basic idea is just to create one indexer method, and then in that indexer method provide the index to these title, author, and subject, and call this in main method. Then when you do this B, I mean, you create the instance of that class. Let's say the instance of that book class is B. then you do something like this. Book B equals to new book, and then with the help of B operator, and then you call the index. You provide some index and you can call the title and something like this. Okay, the intention is this. So this is just an a kind of, you are putting directly the value, but there is no implementation for that. So we are creating the implementation here. Right now the thing that we want is one indexer. So let's create the indexer. Public, let me take this, all these values are string. See, the member field as string, so we'll take the data type as string, and then we'll say this, and then here this is going to be string index. Okay, now what I need in the indexer basically are get and set properties. So I'll say get, and then in this get I have to set the conditions. What type of conditions? If my index is equals to, what equals to, if my index is equals to title, then what I need to return, what I need to return, sorry, this is if the title is there, then I need to return, what I need to return, title. Okay, I need to return the title. The next thing is if, else if, basically else if index equals to what, equals to author, then I need to return the author. Next, else if my index equals to subject, then return the subject, Okay, and next thing is, in the last part you can directly return null. If somehow the index is going to be mismatched, you can directly return the null. Okay, this is my get property. In a very similar way, I can set my set properties. In set properties, what happen, we assign the values. So let's say if index equals to, again equals to, if the index is equals to title, then please assign the things in a way title equals to value, Next is else if index equals to author, then assign author to value, or value assigned to the author. Else if index equals to subject, then please assign it to value assigned to the subject equals to value. Okay, in the next part we have get and set properties are ready. So let's go to our main method. Let's get back to our main method and try to call all these string this private fields, private string title, private author, and private subject. Let's try to call that. Actually, we are still not sure we can call it or not, but let's try this. Okay, book B equals to new book, that's the class name. Okay, and then I will I basically need to give the parameters, right, because this is a constructor. So I'll say my book name, my book title is, let's say book title is C#, and then what exactly I need, author. So let me take the author name as test. My author is test actually, yeah. So the next thing is subject. So I'll say this is my first approach to indexer, that's the subject. Now based on this B, I can now call B and I will give the index. So let me give the index as B. What I want to give the index, let's say if my index is B title, this title, if my index is B title, then what exactly should the name is printed is going to be printed as C sharp. So let me print it in the console dot write line, and let's try to print this. The book title is plus. Okay, so this is the thing, and if I run this, it'll give me C sharp as the output. Control Shift B. You can see the build is succeeded. Now let's try to run this. Okay, the book title is, it's not giving me the thing. What exactly it should give me? C sharp, but it is not printing. Why it is not printing? It's because we have a problem here. See, the problem is, can you see this? That's the small t, that's the small t, but here it's the capital T. So I'll give the small t. Okay, so Control Shift B, and again try to run this. You can see now the book title is C sharp. You understand? Now in a very similar way, if I want to print the author of this book, I can print this in a manner. Console dot, you can actually use one more kind of console dot write line, that is with the help of indexes, but let's do this with the help of concatenation operator. The book author is, and B, give the author here, author. The book author is, we are providing the author. You can see what value it should provide me. If index equals to author, what author is there? Author is test, so it will give me the test author. If I run this, it will give me the book author is test. Now let's say if I want to change the author from test to some other value, so I can do that. Yes, I can do that. So how to assign it? With the help of set operation, set property. So if my index equals to author, I can give the value to my author here. So that thing come over here. So if I give B, and in the indexer I'll say author, and I will assign one new author. Let me call that author as William. Okay, that's my new author. And now if I run this author, it'll give me two authors basically. One is test and one is Williams. If you run this, see, the book title is C sharp, the book author is test, but now the book author is William. Why the William? Because we assigned a new value to my author. You understand? Eventually we call the private members from the class book to my class program. In the main method we can call with the help of indexer. This square brackets are nothing but indexers. They are coming from here and from here. This is the structure or the syntax structure of your indexer, string index. Okay, so if index equals to title, it will give me the title. If the index equals to author, it will give me the author from here. If the index equals to subject, it will give me the subject. So let's call that subject too, so that it is easy to understand. So the book subject is, even though I don't know about this subject, but let's call the B and then the subject. Okay, run this. Okay, see, book title is C sharp, book author is test, book author is Williams, and book subject is, this is my first approach to indexer. So this is your indexers, and I hope you understand it. Okay, with the help of get and set operation, with the help of this conditions and this index, you can call all these private members that you had declared in your class, another class, in this another the main class, or you can say the main method. Okay, so this is the indexers, and indexer is known as the smart arrays or virtual arrays. It allows you to use an index. It allows you to use an index. See, index on an object, see, book B, this is basically an object. So what we are using here, object, on an object, to obtain its value, do you understand it? See, it allows to use an index. We are using index here. See, index on an object, and how can you create the object? the class instance. So what is the class? Book. And what is the instance of that? B. Or and what value we want to provide from here? These are the values that we want to access here. See, so we want to provide this value so that it gets printed. So we are using index on an object. Yes, we are providing the index on an object to obtain its value, right? See, B title, that's object, that's basically the object, and this is going to be the index, and with the help of object index we are pushing in the console.writeLine the title, that means the value. Okay, you understand this line? This line is important. Index on an object. So index, this is index. Okay, here see, this is basically index. So index on an object, that means B is an object, to get its value. What is the value? C#, that's the value. Title is what? C#. So index on an object to get its value. That's the intention of this indexer. You understand? Okay. Thank you so much for listening to me.